Chapter 19 of Freckles. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Betsy Bush, in Marquette, Michigan, February 2008. Freckles by Gene Stratton Porter. Chapter 19, Wherein Freckles Finds His Birthright and the Angel Loses Her Heart. The nurse left the room quietly as the Angel entered, carrying the bundle and picture. When they were alone, she turned to Freckles and saw that the crisis was indeed at hand. That she had good word to give him was his salvation, for despite the heavy plaster jacket that held his body immovable, his head was lifted from the pillow. Both arms reached for her. His lips and cheeks flamed, while his eyes flashed with excitement. "Angel!" he panted. "Oh, Angel, did you find them? Are they white? Are the little stitches there? Oh, Angel, did me mother love me?" The words seemed to leap from his burning lips. The Angel dropped the bundle on the bed and laid the picture face down across his knees. She gently pushed his head up to the pillow and caught his arms in a firm grasp. "Yes, dear heart," she said with fullest assurance. "No little clothes were ever whiter. I never in all my life saw such dainty, fine little stitches, and as for loving you, no boy's mother ever loved him more." A nervous trembling seized Freckles. "Sure? Are you sure?" he urged with clicking teeth. "I know," said the Angel firmly. "And Freckles, while you rest and be glad, I want to tell you a story. When you feel stronger, we will look at the clothes together. They are here. They are all right. But while I was at the home getting them, I heard of some people that were hunting a lost boy. I went to see them, and what they told me was all so exactly like what might have happened to you that I must tell you. Then you'll understand that things could be very different from what you always have tortured yourself with thinking. Are you strong enough to listen? May I tell you?" "Maybe 'twasn't my mother. Maybe someone else made those little stitches." "Now, Goosey, don't you begin that," said the Angel, "because I know that it was." "No!" cried Freckles, his head springing from the pillow. "No! How can you know?" The Angel gently soothed him back. "Why, because nobody else would ever sit and do it the way it is done. That's how I know," she said emphatically. "Now you listen while I tell you about this lost boy and his people, who have hunted for months and can't find him." Freckles lay quietly under her touch, but he did not hear a word that she was saying until his roving eyes rested on her face. He immediately noticed a remarkable thing. For the first time she was talking to him and avoiding his eyes. That was not like the Angel at all. It was the delight of hearing her speak that she looked one squarely in the face and with perfect frankness. There were no side glances and down drooping eyes when the Angel talked. She was business straight through. Instantly Freckles' wandering thoughts fastened on her words. "And he was a sour, grumpy old man," she was saying. "He always had been spoiled, because he was an only son. So he had a title and a big estate. He would have just his way, no matter about his sweet little wife or his boys or anyone. So when his elder son fell in love with a beautiful girl having a title, the very girl of all the world his father wanted him to, and added a big adjoining estate to his, why, that pleased him mightily. Then he went and ordered his younger son to marry a poky kind of a girl that no one liked, to add another big estate on the other side. And that was different. That was all the world different, because the elder son had been in love all his life with the girl he married. And oh, Freckles, it's no wonder, for I saw her. She's a beauty, and she has the sweetest way. But that poor younger son, he had been in love with the village vicar's daughter all his life. That's no wonder either, for she was more beautiful yet. She could sing as the angels, but she hadn't a cent. She loved him to death, too, if he was bony and freckled and red-haired. I don't mean that. They didn't say what color his hair was, but his father's must have been the reddest ever, for when he found out about them, and it wasn't anything so terrible, he just caved. The old man went to see the girl, the pretty one with no money, of course, and he hurt her feelings until she ran away. She went to London and began studying music. Soon she grew to be a fine singer, so she joined a company and came to this country. When the younger son found that she had left London, he followed her. When she got here all alone and afraid, and saw him coming to her, why, she was so glad she up and married him, just like anybody else would have done. He didn't want her to travel with the troupe, so when they reached Chicago they thought that would be a good place, and they stopped while he hunted work. It was slow business, because he never had been taught to do a useful thing, and he didn't even know how to hunt work, least of all to do it when he found it. So pretty soon things were going wrong. But if he couldn't find work, she could always sing, so she sang at night, and made little things in the daytime. He didn't like her to sing in public, and he wouldn't allow her when he could help himself. But winter came. It was very cold, and fire was expensive. Rents went up, and they had to move farther out to cheaper and cheaper places. And you were coming, I mean, the boy that is lost was coming, and they were almost distracted. Then the man wrote and told his father all about it, and his father sent the letter back unopened with a line telling him never to write again. When the baby came there was very little left to pawn for food and a doctor, and nothing at all for a nurse. So an old neighbor woman went in and took care of the young mother and the little baby, because she was so sorry for them. By that time they were away in the suburbs on the top floor of a little wooden house among a lot of big factories, and it kept growing colder with less to eat. Then the man grew desperate, and he went just to find something to eat, and the woman was desperate too. She got up, left the old woman to take care of her baby, and went into the city to sing for some money. The woman became so cold she put the baby in bed and went home. Then a boiler blew up in a big factory beside the little house and set it on fire. A piece of iron was pitched across and broke through the roof. It came down smash and cut just one little hand off the poor baby. It screamed and screamed, and the fire kept coming closer and closer. The old woman ran out with the other people and saw what had happened. She knew there wasn't going to be time to wait for firemen or anything, so she ran into the building. She could hear the baby screaming, and she couldn't stand that, so she worked her way to it. There it was, all hurt and bleeding. Then she was almost scared to death over thinking what its mother would do to her for going away and leaving it, so she ran to a home for little friendless babies that was close, and banged on the door. Then she hid across the street until the baby was taken in, and then she ran back to see if her own building was burning. The big factory and the little house and a lot of others were all gone. The people there told her that the beautiful lady came back and ran into the house to find her baby. She had just gone in when her husband came, and he went in after her, and the house fell over both of them. Freckles lay rigidly with his eyes on the angel's face, while she talked rapidly to the ceiling. Then the old woman was sick about the poor little baby. She was afraid to tell them at the home, because she knew she never should have left it. But she wrote a letter and sent it to where the beautiful woman, when she was ill, had said her husband's people lived. She told all about the little baby that she could remember, when it was born, how it was named for the man's elder brother, that its hand had been cut off in the fire, and where she had put it to be doctored and taken care of. She told them that its mother and father were both burned, and she begged and implored them to come after it. You'd think that would have melted a heart of ice, but that old man hadn't any heart to melt, for he got that letter and read it. He hid it away among his papers and never told a soul. A few months ago he died. When his elder son went to settle his business, he found the letter almost the first thing. He dropped everything and came with his wife to hunt that baby, because he always had loved his brother dearly, and wanted him back.